Thank you for inviting me. I wanted to share with you a thought on this week's parasha. The parasha begins, as we know, Lech lecha me'artzecha me'meiladcha me'beis avicha. That the Rabbi Shalom tells Avram Avinu to leave and to go from everything familiar to him. Where he's born, where he's grown up, where he's been living for so many years, to a new place, a new land, something totally unfamiliar. And this is a tremendous nisayin, a test that here he was telling him to do something very difficult, leaving behind everything familiar to him. But the question is that the Rebbeinu Shalom tells him right after that, you're going to have everything. Everything that you've wanted in all the different brachas. Rashi goes through the different brachas that he was telling him. The Rebbeinu Shalom is giving him all. Children and wealth and fame, everything. What's the sign? If someone would tell you that, if you pick up and you move and you go here or you go there, you're going to have everything.
We say this in Mishmar every day. When we do good, we get blessed. So we ask the question,
No, 100%. But over here, what was the sign? If I tell you, you go here, a certain place, certain time, you're going to get everything. You'll be there.
It's still very difficult.
Oh, what's so difficult? What's so difficult? Here he was being offered everything, a bracha for everything. He was told that he has to leave, he has to go to the place, this land that the Rabbi was telling him about. What was the sign?
People say, I'll believe it when I see it.
Oh, it's very good. So you're saying the nisayin was that believing
Emunah.
that it would come. The emunah. Very good. That's definitely one of the pshat. But there's a very interesting story that during the Second World War, when Russia and Germany split Poland, and I have all the details exactly, but basically what happened was that Russia took the eastern side of Poland, and in there was Vilna, and they made Vilna the capital of Lithuania. And I'm not mistaken. And what happened is that the borders between Russia and Vilna were then open. And many took this opportunity to leave communist Russia and flee to Vilna. It was a tremendous opportunity. It was not simple leaving Russia, and here the borders were open, and many went there. Many yeshivas went there, and many Yidden went there. And including in that group that went was the Brisker Rav. He was also in Vilna at the time. And there was somebody of Avram Abba Zayins who was there, and he asked the Brisker Rav, he said, I don't understand. This is an opportunity that we haven't had, we don't usually have, to be able to come, to leave Russia and to come to Vilna, no problems, open borders. So why aren't more people coming? Why aren't more people taking advantage of this opportunity? And the Brisker Rav told him, he answered him with the following question. He says, the pasuk says, and we speak about it, so Rosh Hashanah, other times, that the Rabbi Shalom says, I remember the tremendous chesed that Klal Yisrael did for me, that they left Mitzrayim and they went with me into the Midbar, empty and desolate as it was. What does that mean? You know what they had in Mitzrayim? They weren't living the good life. They were slaves.
That fish.
Huh?
That fish.
That fish. Absolutely. And they paid for it. Yeah. That's what they wanted, fish and cucumbers. That's what it was all about. They were slaves. What was so special about them leaving there and following the Rebbeinu Shalom into the Midbar? But said the Brisker Rav, the pshat is, because people have a hard time changing.
Right.
People are used to what they have. I think all of us this resonates with all of us well, that people have a hard time changing. Whatever we're used to.
They had studies of this.
I'm sure.
And they brought them to, they brought the third world country to people, like they ran out. They
Right.
couldn't.
They don't want it. They don't want it. They want whatever they have They could be suffering. They could be going through difficult times. They could be slaves. But it's difficult to change, to come to something different, come to something new, and it's very difficult. And the Brisker Rav said the same way as a chesed for Kaiser to give that up and to leave, and to go into Midbar and follow the Rebbeinu Shalom, that the Rebbeinu Shalom remembers, so too when Yidden have open borders and can easily flee and go into Vilna, they don't take advantage of that opportunity because it's hard for them to change.
Same thing when they had to run away to America. They wanted to
Yeah.
Very, very hard for them.
Yeah.
How could they? Everybody asks, how could they?
Yeah, many people even after the war went back to their country. But why are you going back? They had a hard time changing. Yeah.
You're saying this is a Jewish thing
Yeah,
or?
no, it's a general thing. Yeah.
General.
But Rameir Soloveitchik, also Zecher Tzadik Avrocha, said that it could be this is the Nisayan of Lech Lecha. That even though it's true, Avram Avinu was promised a lot, and even if the Nisayan wasn't in the Amunah, like you're saying, but still there is a Nisayan in giving up the old, changing from the old, and trying something different, going to something new. Yes, he would have everything that he wanted, all the brachas he would get. Here he was, 75 years, living in the same place, born there, raised there, grew up. Everything was there. That's what he was used to. And now he's going to a new country, a new beginning, a new everything. That was the difficulty. That was the Nisayan. There's a famous question that's asked by the Akedah. No, it's not. We have time till we get there. But the Akedah, there's a famous question that here we know the Akedah, the tremendous sacrifice that Avram Avinu was ready to give up his son, to give up Yitzchak Avinu. The question is, we've seen many times, many Yidden over all the generations who are ready also to be Meiser Nefesh, ready to do the same thing. Why is it that the Akedah of Yitzchak is the special schus that we have? And this is something, it doesn't seem like only Avram Avinu was able to do. This is something that tremendous amount of Yidden.
First. It's easier after the first.
It's true, but it's easier. But still, Avram Avinu sounds like he's in a league of his own.
Yeah, for sure.
With Akedah. But there's a famous teretz from Rabbi Chaim Volozhiner that he said that we look at it afterwards, similar to what he's saying, that we look at it afterwards and we see other people did it. But do you know how they did it? Do you know where they got the ability, the koyach to be able to do that? That koyach came from Avram Avinu. Avram Avinu, who did do it, who was able to do it, who did, was the first story of Mesiras Nefesh, that he was able to do that, that gave all his children after him. He put into the DNA, exactly, he put into the DNA the ability to be able to be Meiser Nefesh.
So he created the ability of Amunah?
Yeah.
Well, maybe not the Munah, but the koyach to be able to be Meiser Nefesh, which is very difficult.
Which is, you can only do that if you have Amunah.
For sure. But even with Amunah, it's still quite a test. Quite a test.
Not if you have 100% Amunah. There's no test.
Okay, could be. Could be. We can argue about that afterwards, maybe. But it's still, it's very hard.
That's the question why how did Adam sin? If he saw Hashem for
Yeah.
who he was.
Yeah, that's yeah. But and everything, there's always levels, you know.
Right.
But you say 100%. But it's very hard. The idea of being Meiser Nefesh for sure is very difficult. And the ability to do such a thing, that ability, it says Rabbi Chaim Volozhiner, came from Avram Avinu, from the act that he did. And that, by him doing that, he was able to instill that, ingrain that in all his children, and all the many generations who were able to do that, only because of that. And it could be we can add the words of Rabbi Chaim Volozhiner and say, there wasn't just the ability to be Meiser Nefesh, with that Nisayan, the Nisayan of Akedas Yitzchak, but with the Nisayan of Lech Lecha as well. The Nisayan of Lech Lecha as well, that also was something that Avram Avinu did. It was Nisayan that he was able to complete, to be able to do. And the ability to do that Nisayan is something that he gave over to his children after him. And generations were zeicha to have the ability to do a Lech Lecha. To ado a Lech Lecha. What is a Lech Lecha? to be able to make a change. The Lech Lecha, as we said, the ability to change, to be able to do something than what we're used to, and to change from our norm, our routine, our comfort, and to be able to go out of that and to do something different. And after 75 years, pick up and move and start all over again. Not only did Avram Avinu have that koich, but he gave us that as well. The ability to pass all his nisyonis, and to all our nisyonis, is something that we inherited, that we have in our DNA from Avram Avinu. Not only the ability to be Meiser Nefesh, but possibly the ability to change, and to do things that we're not used to. All different ages over here. But all of us, almost all of us, I'll make it more general, people in the whole world, maybe all of you, Sadiqim, Gedolim, it could be, I don't know all of you, some of you know, but people have a hard time changing. And people are used to whatever they have been, whoever they are, that's who they are. That's the way they are. And they have a hard time changing, a hard time doing different. And you have many times a person who maybe even thought once that he wanted to do something, or maybe one time dreamt of being a certain type of person, but he's not that. And how is he going to become that? Change? How did I change? We don't change. I am who I am. I was like this last year, and the year before, and the year before, and the year before that. Are we all? Again, I don't know about this crowd, but everybody out there, they say, this way I am. I don't only mean that if you've been Democratic your whole life or Republican, it's hard to change. In every way, in real ways, in things that really changing ourselves in the ways that are harder to change. To change and become something different, we have a very hard time. But perhaps this is the sign of Lech Lecha, and this is the ability that we have from Avram Avinu. You hear it sometimes from somebody that he always wanted to go through Chumash Rashi. Go through it from beginning to end, to go through the whole thing. He never did it. He's going to start now. Now he's going to become that person who could do it. Now he's going to do it. Didn't do it last year, the year before. He never did it. A guy who has whatever his dream is, whether it's to finish Shas, whether it's to do this chesed, to be able to begin and start becoming this type of person who helps people in this way. I never did it. I'm going to become that person. I want to share with you one of my favorite stories. I've told this to a lot of people. But an incredible story which I found inspirational for already a long time. I grew up in Canada, and this is part of our history, part of what we learned about in elementary school. I don't remember which grade, but this is something that we learned. And it remained in my head that years ago, there was a fellow whose name is Terry Fox. Any of you ever heard of him? He said, Canadian. And Terry Fox was a fellow, not Jewish, was a fellow, I think he was born in the 60s, I think, around then. And when he was a teenager, he had a dream to run across Canada. Run across Canada. Now, Canada is bigger than Americans think it is. And not only in people, but the area, it's a very big area. It's big.
But no one lives there.
But he had a dream. He didn't have to worry about running into people. Yeah, but he had a dream to run across Canada, from one end to another. This was his dream. Why? For no reason, other than this was his dream. As we say, he said, "Amishagas." This is the thing. This is what he wanted to run across Canada. This is going to be his thing.
Mishagas from the street.
This was his thing. Anyways, when he was 18, he was diagnosed with leukemia, and unfortunately they had to amputate his leg. And here his dream was to run across Canada. What was he going to do? What happened is they amputated his leg, but he didn't want to give up his dream. And he said he's going to do it anyways. And I think they put on prosthetic leg, and he was going to run with that. And I saw a video more recently of him running with that, and a very sad scene of him. There's a truck going with him. It wasn't safe for him to run by himself, but running very slowly, but running. And he made a campaign to raise money for research for leukemia, and he ran, and he ran, and he ran. He ran almost to the end of Canada, and when he was, this is from the time he was 18 till the time he was 21, sometime in there, for a whole 3 years, but he was running and running and running, and he did not make it to the end. He died at age 21, almost running across the entire Canada with one real leg. Only one real leg. With another leg, it was amputated. For what? Because he had a dream. Because he wanted to do it. There's no real gain. At the end, maybe he raised a lot of money for leukemia, but only because he had a dream to do it. There's something he wanted to do. And I think how powerful this is. The power of a ratzon, of a desire to do something. With no need to do it. The world's not missing anything, but he wanted to do it, and that's it. Because a person, the Rabbi made people, even non-Jewish people, gave them incredible power of ratzon, and more than that, an incredible power of being able to do. And as much as we think, of course we think that we can't do this, we can't do that, but we could. And there's so much that we're able to do. There's so much that we're able to do if only we, number one, have the desire to do it, and number two is that we are able to make the change. To do the lech lecha that we find sometimes so difficult. Rabbi should help us all that we should be able to take from this nisayon of Avram Avinu, to take the koyach, the ability, and to be able to change in ways that maybe we have dreamt, or maybe we thought, but we never did, and we never pushed ourselves, but to be able to make the changes we wanted to. And if Terry Fox can run across almost entire Canada, then we can do just about anything. Yosef Kaiser.